All right, today we're going to be talking about proportions. We've been working a lot with ratios, which is where you're comparing two things, but today we're going to switch over and we're going to talk about a proportion. A proportion is an equation showing two ratios that are equal, two equal ratios. All right, so it's very self-explanatory, but it would look like an example would be like 2/3 and 4/6. All right. Not only are these, can we tell that these are equivalent because they look like a lot like equivalent fractions, but we can also use something called cross products. And cross products are actually found by multiplying the denominator of each ratio by the numerator of the other ratio. So, for example, using that same example that we just had, the 2/3 and the 4/6, if I were to cross multiply or use cross products, which means I'm going to multiply the 2 and the 6 and the 4 and the 3. If I were to do that, 4 times 3 is 12, and 2 times 6 is also 12. Because these two are equal, we can say that these two ratios are proportional and that this is in fact a proportion. All right. With this idea in mind, we can actually use cross products, or also known as cross multiplying, um, and proportions when we're solving different questions. For example, we have find the missing number in this particular thing. So we're in this particular problem. We're trying to find what x equals. So in order to do that, we can think of the same thing we worked on in the last example. So we can cross multiply. And by doing that, we can actually set up an algebraic equation that's very easy to solve then. So we have 40x, because 40 times x is just 40x, equals 15 times 8. All right. And 15 times 8 equals 120. And that still equals our 40x. And using our idea of inverse operations, we know that we need to divide both sides by 40 to get that x by itself. And so then 120 divided by 40 is 3. So x is going to equal 3. All right, so it's very, very simple. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is do this particular example in your WISC tonight. Include it in your notes, and I'll just check it tomorrow. So we have 4 over x equals 12 over 24. What I'm going to be looking for when I look for this particular problem is not just the answer, but I'd like to see your actual cross multiplying in the equation that you are writing, or as I call it, making the proportion flat, which is basically just creating the equation. All right, so I'd like to see that process just because I want you to get comfortable with it. All right, so please do this problem for me in your WISC. All right, now we can also use proportions and cross multiplying when we're talking about word problems. All right, so we have Haley was going to make punch for the party. Sorry, there's a typo here. The recipe she had made 12 servings and called for 3 cups of grape juice. Haley wanted to make enough for 36 servings. How much grape juice should she plan to add to the punch? So we can take this information and actually set up a couple ratios. So we know that the ratio of servings to cups is 12 to 3. All right, and we want to figure out how much grape juice she should plan to add to the punch. So she needs 36 servings, and I'm putting 36 on top because since my servings for my 12 are on top, we need to stay consistent. So we also need to put servings for the other proportion on top. And then my cups are going to go on the bottom. I don't know how many cups of grape juice I'm going to need for 36. That's actually what we're trying to solve for. So I'm just going to call that X. All right, and then through cross multiplying, I can make this problem flat. I can say 12x equals 36 times 3. Multiply 36 times 3, which is 108. So I'm just going to move it up here just because I'm running out of room. I have 12x equals 108. Divide both sides by 12, and I'm going to figure out that x equals 9. So I'm going to need 9 cups of grape juice in order to make my 36 servings. All right, so it's all about organizing your work. Okay, you need to make sure that you pay special attention to how you're setting up the proportion. Make sure that you're staying consistent across the board. Okay, if you do that, you shouldn't have any problems. All right, so here's some more word problems. If you're struggling, I would recommend that you do all 3 of these. However, I am only going to require you to do this first one, this bike one. All right, it says a factory makes 5 bikes per hour. How many bicycles can they make in 2 hours? Okay, so just set up a proportion again. I really do need to see your proportion when I'm looking for your answers. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today. Please make sure you bring any questions to class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I got for you on proportions. Thanks, guys.